Our goal through this video project is to explore the mental health system in Canada, namely in terms of issues surrounding stigma of mental health, stereotypes, essentializing, the notion of disability, and accessibility to the system in general, including barriers to access such as high costs, citizenship status, language, the complicated bureaucracy, etc.
Our performance would portray a scene of someone experiencing distress at their experiences with the mental health system and would include aspects of invisible theater, theater of the oppressed, verbatim theater, along with the participation of spect actors. The performance would take place in front of the Spadina and College CAMH facility. Our reasons for using theater for this issue is to confront people in an emotionally charged space in ways that, as Dennis described, stir their critical consciousness, provoke reflection, as well as foster understanding about oppression with the goals of creating social change. Invisible theater and theater of the oppressed are used because it can be seen as a realistic scenario that would happen in that space, which would foster empathy and connection with bystanders while highlighting oppression and allowing greater understanding. Verbatim methodologies are an important aspect to draw on real experiences and stories instead of reinforcing stereotypes, as discussed by Chu and Bleecker. CAMH is used as an iconic space connected to a medical model of mental health to highlight issues of stigma and lack of access. It's also on a busy street at a busy intersection, which will allow many potential audience members and diverse contribution of spect actors.
Speaking of audience members, the intended audience for this piece would be the passers-by, so the general public on the street, as well as folks seeking services from CAMH and the CAMH staff.
Now, as actors and facilitators, the main roles will be the first actor, who will be the person in distress, using elements of verbatim theater to represent real lived experiences of people experiencing difficulty with the mental health system, as per Chu and Bleeker's discussion, through a loose script so that you can improvise to suit the diversity of passersby. There will also be an antagonist whose role will be to elevate the protagonist's distress and also symbolically represent stigma and difficulties with the biomedical model of mental health service provision. And finally, there will be a support role or a staged bystander whose role will largely be to alleviate distress as well as try and critically engage passersby and other bystanders by getting them to reflect on questions such as, how do you get help with this system?
The role of the audience/participants would be to participate actively in the theater production based on prompts from the facilitators, in the hopes that the audience will act as a support to the protagonist, thus transforming them from passive audience members to active participants, so transforming them into spect actors as described by Rich. The piece will also change due to the diverse nature of the audience, allowing for different experiences to be revealed and influence the piece, thus aiding to develop various strategies for social change. Some challenges that could be faced while performing this piece would be some issues of ethics. So you come into some issues when you are trying to portray someone from a marginalized group. The challenge would be to create an authentic representation. There's also a challenge that can be faced when you're engaging with bystanders that have no idea that they're participating in a performance because they could react negatively or aggressively. Also, there are cameras around the entire CAMH property, so you come into issues of surveillance because we are visible to the CAMH staff and they may not agree with the performance.
With social transformation as a goal, it's important to help people develop greater empathy and understanding of marginalized experiences and structures of oppression, which I think this performance will be effective at. The interactions between the staged bystander and the protagonist, informed by the contributions of the spect actors, can begin to model alternative ways of thinking and acting as a catalyst for transformation. The fact that mental health workers will see and maybe engage in the piece may prompt reflection and a change in their practice.